Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from around the world. My name is Morungi. Welcome to our podcast. And today I'll actually be presenting by myself because Fati had a work emergency. Nonetheless, I am joined with two wonderful people. And today we'll be talking about, we've been talking about a life in Japan, this in Japan, that in Japan. But today, we'd like to talk to our brothers and sisters who have returned home or who are planning to go back home. And today, I'm joined with two very interesting people. Some of my people, I'll let them introduce themselves. They'll tell us about a bit about themselves, their names, their home countries, and things like that. So I don't know. Maybe we'll start with the lady.
So, my name is Nelly, and I come from Kenya. I'll be going back to Kenya soon. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And the gentleman?
Hello, my name is Sati. Mm, I come from Kenya too, and I'm already in Kenya. So we're back home from Japan 3 years now. So
Mm,
welcome back home.
this is wonderful. So we hope to see, sometimes going back home may or may not be a challenge. So I would like to, capture some of these things. But we'll start from the beginning. Why Japan? Why did you decide to study in Japan?
Honestly, I have no idea why, but historically we have this perception in Kenya about Japan.
Mm,
Technology this, technology that,
that
technology
is
this.
true.
Yes. So as someone with an IT background and in the field industry of IT, going to Japan was just like, yeah, now we're gonna experience the real IT.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what really motivated.
And when was that? When did you come to Japan? How long were you in Japan?
I came to Japan in 2015. Yes, 2015. And I lived there for like 2.5 years.
Okay.
2 years master's program, and then there was a 6 month internship program that I had to go
Okay.
the scholarship program that I was pursuing. Yeah.
All right. What about you, Nelly?
Yeah. So, I came to Japan because the scholarship opportunity presented itself. But more
Mm,
importantly, uh, I came to Japan because it is much more developed in terms of research, and
mm,
because I wanted to learn more about virology. And I knew perhaps in Kenya we may not have um, the capability. So
mm.
that's why I really came to Japan, and it has been exciting.
I see. Well,
Mm.
what our listeners may or may not know is that Nelly has also been to other parts of the world to study. So I would like to know, like, why didn't you go back? Maybe.
It was more to do with, actually I wanted to remain in Glasgow. It was
Mm,
so interesting. But at that time I was looking more for fully funded scholarship,
I
and
see.
unfortunately I was offered by my school only partial funded
Mm,
scholarship. So
mm.
what I liked about coming to Japan is it was fully funded scholarship. So that is why I chose Japan rather than staying back in Glasgow.
I see. All
Mm.
right. Now that we're talking about going back home, I'll start with what are those things that you guys enjoyed or have enjoyed about Japan? Like when you look back, you're like, this thing, the other thing, and the other. What have been some of those things that you've truly liked about Japan?
Uh, for me, it has been Japan is so beautiful, and the convenience first of traveling around.
Mm,
There's no traffic, and then their train system is just way developed. So I think I'll miss a lot of that.
Mm.
And Japan is so beautiful. There's really a lot to experience. It's such a different culture.
Mm.
And I think to me, every city you go, you have something different to experience. To me, which I will really miss.
Okay.
Yes.
Sati?
Yeah, Japan is an interesting country. It was indeed very interesting. I
Mm.
got to, well, I avoided the Nairobi traffic for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too. That's my concern. Dealing with
yeah,
the traffic.
and,
Mm.
and then and then just uh, I tend to like efficiency.
Mm.
Mm.
Like that when things are started, they go on to the end. So time management is great, and
Mm.
yeah. So and then research.
Mm.
One
Okay.
thing I enjoyed about my research was you see it's day in day out.
Mm.
You discover things every week. You have to report to the supervisor.
Mm.
I
Mm.
started my masters here in Kenya. A thousand apologies. Just a moment.
Well, for those of you listening in, we are joined with Kenji, a beautiful baby boy, 7 months old. He's Sati's son, so all the background music you're hearing is from him.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Yeah. So Kenji is right here. He's trying to contribute.
Mm.
Um, he hasn't experienced Japan yet.
One day, one day, one time.
Mm.
Yes, hopefully, I named him after a great mentor of mine,
Mm.
a great friend and mentor for a very long time.
Mm.
God, somebody like that deserves a place somewhere in my household.
I
Mm.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I've met. So
Ah.
So you
yeah.
talked about time management, convenience. Nelly talked about the beauty of the country, so many things to see. Said you've also mentioned the research. So, and you've contrasted all this with Kenya. So, what are those things you didn't like? I mean, I don't think there's a place that's 100%. So, what are some of those things you're like, oh, this one I can't wait to leave it here?
Yes, there are lots of things I didn't like.
Such as,
uh, while I'm a believer in efficiency and things like that,
mm,
uh, I'm also a believer in 50-50, that life has to balance.
Mm. Mm.
You all work and no play makes Jack.
Mm. Mm.
And I think uh, I'd consider Japan like that place where you go get things done and
mm,
then you come back home.
I see.
Yeah, yeah,
So do you
because
go back home to play or you just go back home?
no, no, you're not going back home to, well, play is part of it.
Mm,
Yeah, but you also go to breathe,
mm, mm,
have, have some space for yourself and just,
mm.
stop home. So I also don't like too much cleanliness.
How is that?
Yeah, because you see, like I said, I'm a 50-50 believer in good and bad. You gotta have some sense of appreciating the bad, which gives you an intention to work towards the good. Yeah, but when everything is running, you know, robotically, if I may,
Mm,
then
mm.
you lose out on a lot. You don't get to learn because systems are extreme. Yeah.
That is true, but I don't know about the cleanliness. I think I would like to have my cleanliness 120%.
Me too. Me
And
too.
I,
Contrary to Sati, I love the cleanliness.
yeah,
I will
like,
miss the cleanliness.
mm,
Yes, and like Sati, to me Japan is what I don't like is
mm,
it has just too much work, you know. There's too much to do, and I think you end up losing social life. You
mm,
end up being very isolated. I think life just rotates around two or three places. you
That
know,
is true.
and to really and you have really to carve out time to get to see your friends, you know. And
Mm,
to me, Japan has a lot of pressure.
it
I
does.
have been to Glasgow, and research was not like this. And I bet
Mm,
anywhere else you'd go, life is more balanced, and there's no pressure like the one you find here in Japan. So
mm,
those are among, yeah, basically what I don't like revolves around work, and also, if I may
mm.
say, I don't think their food is delicious. Some of it is delicious for sure, but I don't know.
I
Yeah,
really wish Fatu was here. We had a conversation about the pros and cons of coming to Japan. For those of you who haven't listened, please listen to it. And for me, one of my biggest cons was the food. And she
yeah.
said that I need to stop eating combini food, but I don't think it's combini food. I think
Mm,
it's just like 90% of the food really. For me,
yeah. Mm,
doesn't sit well with me.
And I also don't think there's much difference between the convenience food and the home cooked food in Japan.
I agree. I
It's more or
agree.
less the same. It doesn't matter whether you eat in a restaurant or in a convenience. The food is the same.
Yeah, like the
mm,
cooking style, the cooking techniques. I mean, it's the same, really. Yeah,
mm.
it's the same.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
all
true.
right. Well, I'm glad someone has said that because people might have thought that I'm just hating on the country. Now, what have been your biggest challenges that you've faced academically, maybe financially, maybe socially? What have been some of those challenges?
Really?
The challenges will be, for me, academically, the challenges will be too much work. I
Mm,
just had too much work, to the
mm,
extent I don't think I had enough time with my friends. And I
mm.
think I even had the problem of I could not even plan anything.
Yeah.
Like I could not make any plans with my friend, like just for 1 week. Let's make this plan and let's do this next week. I could not, and it was very difficult. And to some
Mm,
extent, I don't think my friends even understood that completely. You know,
okay.
so that was a very big challenge for me. There was just too much work. My life was not balanced at all. It was more
Mm,
of work every time, and there was just so much to do. Socially, like I've said, I don't think I had enough time with my friends.
mm.
I think for me, the only free day I had was Sunday, and that day it's just for resting,
Yeah,
basically
I
for
want to
me.
sleep. Yeah.
Yes, because of the much I had to do. So
Mm,
what I love about Japan is the fact that there are part-time jobs. So that is something I appreciate. For me, I think in Japan it is hard to sleep hungry, which I
okay.
appreciate. I think there are just two, at least there are so many part-time jobs. So that
Mm,
is something I appreciate. But then again, it added to the workload anyway. And once you start quitting again is difficult, yeah.
that is true.
So yeah, that was it about me. So Saturday was the day I had my part time again. After part time, perhaps I would go to the lab.
The
So it was
love.
again adding up to so much work. But then I appreciate that I joined actually the part time. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, what about you, Sati? What were some of the biggest challenges you faced, either academically, financially, socially, or in any other kind of way?
Hmm. I think one of the beautiful things about the scholarship program was money was no issue.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
So, money is not really a big issue for me
Mm,
uh, staying in Japan. But of course, the challenges, particularly the pressure. You know, you're always work, research. Your mind revolves. I think there was a time I almost lost it.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. You know, when you have that feeling of if I continue doing this without a
mm.
break, then I might lose my head. Yeah.
when was that? The first year, the second year,
It
close to
must be
the end?
towards the end.
Towards the end,
Yeah.
towards the end, this is why. So this is why I really loved the Kyoto meetings. You know, chapati meetings.
Chapati meetings.
Yes, we used to call them chapati meetings.
That
It's
is true.
we meet together and we have a little fun. I
Mm,
mean, the research waiting in the morning, but this one is I'm not gonna miss this one
that is
because
true.
yeah. So those little breaks came in handy. Otherwise, I think perhaps halfway I would have said, I think my life is more important than research, research, research.
Mm.
Yeah. So too much work is not good. While I appreciate it, I think you need a good balance is great for life. Your life can't revolve around work and research, and you gotta have friends. Would you
Yeah.
believe that
Mm.
2 years I was in the lab, I didn't even know many of my friends, my lab mates, and sit
Mm.
close to one another. And up to date, I don't even know their names because
Really?
we never interacted that much.
So you guys would just come and everyone would concentrate on their piece of work.
Yes, and even if you try saying hello, it's like you're interrupting.
Yeah, but that is
Oh.
so possible in Japan. I get you. That's so possible. Mm.
Yeah, so I can't recall any of my lab mates
Mm.
now, let alone the university. Yeah, so I think
Mm.
that should a good balance would be great if they can improve, balancing work and social life. Having beer is not really. It works for some.
Nomikai.
Yeah,
Nomikai, yeah?
works for some people. Uh, for people who don't drink like me, it
Mm.
doesn't work that much.
Mm.
So you've
Yeah.
actually just stepped into what I wanted to ask. What can be done to ease the lives of Africans? I mean, if the Nomikais are not working, what else do you think can be done from your experience? You're like, maybe they can try this, maybe they can try the other, you know?
Well, just it worked for a lot of people.
The
Don't make it.
Nomikais?
Yeah, it worked for a lot of people. I could see my lab mates are very happy. These are events they look up to. But for someone like me, I consider myself a little antisocial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, having watching a movie or going to a theater or going to see things, that would work better. But you see, not everyone can do that. So for
Mm.
those that it works for, great. For those that it doesn't work for, perhaps you have to adjust and find a way.
Nelly, what would be your input? Is there something the school can do, the
Me,
government can do, the scholarship,
for me,
committee can do?
I think for anything to change, perhaps the entire Japanese culture changes, which is hard because there is no way.
Mm.
Uh, like you say, you go to Rome, you behave like the
Like the
Romans do.
Romans.
You can't come and the non-Japanese have uh, their own routine. They are not following what the natives are doing here. It is impossible. So for me, if anything is to change, perhaps the whole Japanese culture of prioritizing work over everything else is my opinion.
I see. Well, as much as, that may be viable, but it's not feasible.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not feasible. So probably people, like individuals, have to come and decide, okay, on Saturdays, maybe I'll take off like 3 hours and I don't know, sleep. Maybe Sunday afternoons, I'll be going out to visit places. You carve out your own kind of time, your own kind of rest. Maybe you also decide, okay, maybe I'll hang out with Nelly or I'll hang out with Sati. Sati, let's do lunches on Wednesdays. So probably individuals are the ones who have to come up with these solutions themselves. Well, now that we're talking about going home, Nelly, what are your fears?
My fears are I would really love to stay in Kenya actually, but my one of my greatest fears I think is finding a job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's my fear. That is my fear.
I
Mm.
see. Sati, what were your fears when you are, preparing to go back home?
Let me see. Readjusting. You see,
Mm,
uh, the when you're adapting to another culture, 2 years is good enough time to adapt to a culture.
that is
So
true.
you start off, you improve, and just when you're getting it, you go back. And then 2 years into another culture, now you're coming back to your culture and trying to retrace your roots.
Mm-hmm.
Boy is still around. Uh, is everything the way I left it, or what are the changes? And you're trying to adjust to all that.
Mm,
Yeah, that was my fear that I may not, some people may consider me rude if I
uh,
have, say, I show up 5 minutes early, yeah, to a meeting or just general, you want things done, things moving.
yes, 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 yes.
So that was one of my greatest fears. I didn't fear much about getting a job,
Mm,
uh, because during that time I was still in communication with my former employer.
okay,
Yeah, uh, things were, as for communication, things were great.
okay.
It's only when I came back that reality dawned on me that it's not as per the communication. Yeah, so that dawns on you like, okay, now
Now what?
plan B, yeah.
Plan
Which you
B.
never planned because things were smooth, and you knew things were going back to the way they were. Yeah,
Mm,
so that hit me. That hit
yeah,
me really hard. Mm.
yeah. Okay. So for Nelly, what do you think will be some of those things that will take time for you to get accustomed to, now that you've been in Japan for how long have you been in Japan again?
5 point something years, almost 6.
So going back to Kenya, what do you think will be those things you really have to fight to adjust to? I mean, Seth already told us about perhaps coming off as a Mr. Know It All, yet he wants things to be done in a certain way. What do you think will be some of those things you'll have to readjust by yourself?
I think, I mean, you come to Japan, you learn how to work very hard. You
Mm,
learn to show up on time. Yeah. And I think one of the things I fear is I may not be patient with people. I think I will have to readjust, yeah, because
mm,
I used to not be very good at timekeeping,
mm,
but because of being here for such a long time, I think my time management has improved.
mm.
So, and considering we have that saying African time, I do not
Two
even like
hours
that.
later.
I do not even like that statement nowadays of African time. I think it is just a very bad statement. So, to me, I think it is adjusting to people's pace, or seeing perhaps they are not doing enough, because you come here, you really learn to do more than you're supposed to do. Yeah, you really push yourself to get those results. And
Mm.
yeah, and another thing, like for example in Kenya, we have water rationing,
Ah, okay, okay,
so
okay.
so I one thing I do not want to even imagine is I may go back to a place where there's water rationing, where I have left water. I mean, plenty of water here in Japan. So I think just some things like those.
I
Yeah.
feel you on that part of water
Mm.
because I remember the other day I stuck because it's getting cold, eh? So of course now that you take longer in the shower just to have that water burn your skin, eh? So I was actually talking to my best friend and he said, "Hey, you've spent like 30 minutes in the shower, eh? Is there does water constantly flow like this in Kampala? Okay, and Jojo." I was like, let me enjoy this while I still can. So I totally, totally feel you when you talk about the aspect of things like water and adjusting to people's space. I remember I went back home last year and you know when you go to a restaurant and they bring you cold food, I looked at the lady and I'm like, I I came to eat. I didn't come to eat ice cold food. So I asked her if she could warm it, and she looked at me like, "You kidding me? You're asking me to warm food?" I was like, "Yes, I have paid my money, and you pay before you eat, eh? So you have no choice but to eat the food.
Mm.
You can't walk away. So yeah, just for the 1 month I was home, I felt some of these things, and I was like, things are frustrating, yeah, very very frustrating.
I think
But
another thing I'd like to add is their customer service. I mean, the customer service here in Japan is, I mean,
The
it is
world.
excellent to me. It is excellent. So I don't know. So yeah, like you're saying, already people back home have that a bit of attitude.
Mm.
Yes. So I don't know. Sati, how was it?
How
oh,
was your experience?
you're gonna miss customer service. And
Yeah.
bathtub, ofuro,
Yeah.
Puro.
you're gonna miss your ofuro,
Mm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but I think one of the goodness is your home,
Mm.
and there is that feeling of being home that really Japan can't give you, no matter the things you enjoy, the efficiency. You go to an office and they're very slow, and they're looking at you like, what do you want? Wait there, and things like that.
Come back
And
tomorrow.
it dawns on you that, yeah, I'm home, I'm back home,
Mm.
because Japan can be very efficient in customer service. Actually, they
Mm.
are very
Mm.
efficient in customer service and in service delivery generally,
Mm.
Mm.
and getting work done. That when you come back home, there are those things you realize. Oh, yeah, now you know the difference between where you were and back home, and like your experience. Warm food. Most of the restaurants don't even have a microwave.
That is true.
Yeah, and you're asking them to warm food.
Yes.
So that the lunch people can come and find bulk food. It's yeah, It- and it don't only, but it's some of the things that you appreciate.
Mm.
Like I said, you can never understand what good is unless you experience something
But
bad. Yeah,
Mm.
and this is why I always say, you gotta appreciate if you get, for example, uh, uh, somebody's really ignorant but acting smart. Yeah,
mm,
those stupid smart people. Yeah, and you're looking at him with your knowledge and experience, and you understand that this is gonna end up badly, but you can't really tell them because they are going to be on your neck with your rudeness
you be
and
a
your
wiseacre.
yeah, exactly.
Just
Eh,
because you have been somewhere, you think you can come and tell us how to do this thing.
Mm.
yeah, and they'll give you that phrase of this is Kenya, eh?
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, but it dawns on you that, yeah, I'm home. I'm home. This is how we do stuff here. While you may try to improve, it's a step by step and it's gradual, but it requires a lot of patience and a lot of tolerance. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, eventually, like me now, 3 years down the line, yeah, I've readjusted. Yeah.
okay.
I think now I understand my people. And we're balancing. I work mostly with Japanese companies,
Okay.
and it's a good blend for me. I balance both. When I'm dealing with the Kenyan, I know this is how we do it. When I'm dealing with the Japanese, I know
This
this is
is
how we
how.
do it.
I see. So, with all your experiences, you've talked about the things you like, the things you didn't like, fears and things you have to get accustomed to. Are there any particular things you feel that your countrymen or the government can adapt to improve the lifestyle in your home country? Anything. What are some of those things that we need to kind of change to improve the lifestyle now that you've been here and there?
Yeah, I think I appreciate the government of Kenya because they've been, for the last like 8 or so years, actually around 12 to 13 years,
Mm,
there've been lots of gradual improvement based on our Vision 2030.
okay.
And the service delivery with the current government, they have tried to digitize everything.
Mm.
There's payments are you pay for government services online,
Mm-hmm.
you services you access online, and then we have these Huduma centers. Huduma means service. So we have these service centers that is like a one-stop shop for most
Okay.
of the government services. So you go to one place and you get most of the
All
basics. You don't have to
services.
move around from building to building, building to building. So there have been great improvements. And Nelly, when you come, you're gonna learn. By the end of this year, I think passport application will be 2 days.
Oh,
You apply,
really?
do everything, and I mean they have tried to digitize and improve everything,
Okay.
and that's something I really appreciate. Uh, of course, most of these things are personal in the sense
Okay.
of if the individuals themselves were more focused on improving their services, then we'd say, yeah, things are working. Yeah,
Mm.
because you can try to digitize things, but still there, there's always people who, it doesn't
Finding
matter what
loopholes. Finding
exactly.
loopholes to become middlemen.
Yes. So when you have the right people who have the right mindset, then you can get things done. It doesn't matter what the government does or proposes, but if you have the right people who are
Mm.
focused on doing the right thing and more efficiently, then things go in the right way, no matter the system. Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
Nelly, what about you?
For me, I would just touch on education,
Mm.
and especially for postgraduate education, for people who
Okay.
have to do research and have to publish. Like for masters and PhD in Kenya, they have
PhD.
to publish in order
To
to
graduate.
graduate. And I've been speaking to friends who, I mean, since the time I was in Kenya up to now, they have not managed to finish their degrees. And this is
Wow.
a friend who is doing PhD. And one of the things so far I have liked about being first in Glasgow and then here, and it's happening in both countries, it is the constant communication with my professors. That one I really
Okay.
appreciated. We used, uh, we meet weekly with my
Mm.
professor here. And to me, that is, I really loved it. The meeting weekly with my professor every time. It keeps work moving and it ensures, it ensures also the student will graduate on time. So for me,
Yeah.
just touching on education, that bit, if it would improve, I think it will be it will be better.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
So,
just just to
go
add
on.
on that education, I think also most of our professors, having studied outside, uh, they don't really I don't think they appreciate African journals. Yeah, because when you're publishing and peer reviewed, they want you to publish with a UK-based journal or an American-based journal. You know, when you publish something that is, let's say, Ghana-based, they're like that is not a good journal. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's the back and forth, which is the great journal, and then that brain, what do you call it? When people think the others are more superior than,
Brainwash.
yes,
Inferiority complex.
yes, yeah, that you have to do it some other way, and not this way. Yeah. I
Okay.
think that really hinders a lot of potential for Africa.
Mm.
And but for me, I have to recognize, I know of several professors who are doing an excellent job in Kenya. They are serious about their work. Like
Mm.
my friend who has really taken this long time to finish his degree, he's
Yes.
even thinking of actually changing his major completely so that he moves to a professor whose students are always graduating
I see.
and they're graduating on time. So there are professors who are doing a marvelous job.
Mm.
So if just the others could up their game also, it would be awesome.
So you guys have really dwelt upon mostly education and service delivery. What about as individuals, For example, say as Kenyans, is there something in particular you feel like if we did this, it would really maybe change the mindset of the Kenyans or something like that? Is there something government can do? Is there something maybe civil service or individuals can do to bring about that change in mindset?
Sati, you can go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So let's see. As Kenyan, I think there's a lot that can be done and improved.
Mm,
But I always say it starts with individual responsibility.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Uh, Individual responsibility goes a long way in
Mm,
ensuring that systems work, things
mm,
run,
mm,
uh, and things like
yeah.
that. So, for example, you can improve education, yes, but
mm.
if people are always, passing on the blame, always
Yes.
blame, nobody takes responsibility,
Mm.
then
Mm,
you know now you end up with a citizenry that throws trash and then blames the government.
everywhere.
Yeah.
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 I will completely agree with Sati because we can cry about time management, we can cry about corruption if the government can do this and that and they can be more strict and they can jail people. But the fact is it is just starting with us, basically.
Individuals.
It is starting with the individual. If we as individuals cannot even begin to manage our time proper, just time, how else can we the mindset should change with us and then we go to the rest.
Okay. So, wrapping up, I'd like, what advice, would you give someone returning back home after some time in Japan? What is that advice? What are some of the things they should, keep at the back of their minds? I'll start with you, Nelly, because, probably you've known this, and that.
But I think that question is more for Sati because what would you
Okay.
advise someone who is returning? Yeah, so Sati, what would you advise me?
Actually, the reason why I want to start with you
Hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
you are preparing,
Mm-hmm.
you're preparing. What are some of those things you are really trying to, like, maybe you've put them on a list, like a to-do list, or,
I
do
see.
not
So,
forget list? What are some of the things that
um,
someone could think about?
like Sati, actually, I'm very much in contact with people back home.
Mm,
I think it is really important to keep in touch with your network, at least people
yes,
who, when you go back home, they can help you in one way or another, especially with direct you towards how to get a job and all those things.
yes,
And to me, I feel like after watching videos, after watching Caroline Mutoko and this lady called Natalia, I think she's one important person that I need to see, especially
okay,
for me to get things right, secure a job. So anyway, for me, whatever I'll speak about will just be regarding work because that is what is on my mind. Sati,
okay.
help us with the rest.
Well, I have a singer here, so decided to be very excited. But, all right, so I think preparation is key, of course, before you
Yes,
come back. And so, of course, preparation is key when you're coming back. But one thing I would emphasize is network.
Mm,
The people you relate with, your friends, uh, whether it's the professor back in Japan or your people back here. One of the things that you're gonna have to do is maintain that network. Do not
mm,
lose it. I've been blessed enough to at least maintain my network, and they've supported my business so much
mm,
for the last 3 years.
mm,
I don't most of the things I've done I would have managed. I do consultancy. Most of the things I've done, I don't think I would have managed without having those
the
friends in
network.
yeah and in those networks. Whether back in Japan or here in Kenya, if you maintain those networks, then at least one way or another you're getting some. Yeah. So yeah, maintain that. You'll be fine.
mm.
Okay, so the biggest takeaway is having to maintain your networks wherever you might be. Is that so?
Yes, yes. If you maintain those networks, their value always comes in handy. My business is more of if you know somebody who knows somebody who knows
That
somebody,
knows
then
somebody.
you get things done.
So
Yeah,
social capital.
exactly.
I
Uh, you know that there's that old phrase of what your network.
is your net
Your
Yeah,
worth.
network.
your network is your value, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the friends you hang out with, of
Mm.
course, there are the drinking buddies, and there's
Mm.
the professional friendships where you need to get things done, which is
Yeah.
the right place to approach.
Mm.
Yeah. And another thing I'd say is when you come back, just understand there is the African way
Mm.
of
Mm.
doing
Mm.
things.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, don't have higher expectations.
Mm.
Be minded enough to understand you're in a different culture. You're back home,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
things happen back at home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
I see. Right. So, guys, I would like, well, just a small recap. We've talked about, the things Nelly and Sati have enjoyed about Japan, some of their challenges and how they've overcome them, their fears, such as, things like jobs and things like that. We've also talked about, the difficulty in maybe getting accustomed to the African way of doing things as one of the biggest maybe challenges as you prepare to go back home. And both Nelly and Sati have talked about the importance of social capital. Whether you're here in Japan or whether it's back home, you have to keep in touch with your people. Your net worth is your network is your net worth. So, Satya and Nelly, I would like to thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And for those going back home, we wish you all the best. And also, congratulations on reaching that milestone that has enabled you to graduate or, whatever it is that has happened. Congratulations and all the best on, your next step in life.
Thank you. Thank you for
When,
having us.
Pardon?
when are you coming back?
It's a very
Oh,
good question.
I, I'm coming back end of this month.
But what
Yes.
about
Well, I'm still in school, so I'm still studying.
uh,
Yes.
you're not of coming back?
I'm still studying. I
No, she's
I
still
have to
studying.
I have to finish what brought me.
Yeah.
After your cold soup experience, I don't see you coming back.
After my
Cold soup experience.
Thank you for listening. Until next time. Bye.